Male, 185 pounds, 25 and 23 when this happened. My girlfriend Laura and I were at my house, a ranch-style main level plus basement near the mountains, with the woods in the backyard and the closest neighbor 0.7 miles away. At that point, we'd been dating for 3 months. We were watching a movie. I put the moves on her and things started getting heavy. A loud crash came from the basement. Think a bowling ball knocking down bowling pins kind of loud. And I ran down, baseball bat and flashlight in hand. I searched every crevice, but nothing. No evidence. I chalked it up to something falling. I walked back up to Lauren, and she's under about 4 blankets and trying to be as small as possible. I comfort her and try to reassure her. She falls asleep before the movie ends. I switch to Netflix and eventually fall asleep too. I woke up, because I'm a light sleeper, to the shuffling of feet and my front door closing quietly. In my sleepy state, I thought it was Lauren leaving, but I looked down. She was still in my arms and sound asleep. At this point, I'm fully awake. I'm up on my feet and I grab the bat and flashlight. Whoever this was is now outside, so I lock the door. Before walking out like a deer in a hunting area, I look out each window, but all I see is darkness and nothing. Then lastly, I look out the window that's above my sink in the kitchen and see what looks to be a 6-foot-tall burly male with a mask on, standing behind a tree with his head poking out, tilted and looking at the house. It was very The Strangers-esque. I'm fucking panicking like a little pussy on the inside, but on the outside I know I have to remain combative. I walk fast to Lauren, wake her up and whisper, "Don't panic, but there's a guy with a mask in the backyard. Stay low." She says, "Seriously, what the fuck, Luke?" She's panic whispering but stays low on the couch. I stealthily look out the front bay window, and the masked perp is by my fucking garage under the motion light, just standing there motionless. Now that he's in the light, I notice that he has a meat cleaver in his hand. His head is tilted just looking at my house, his arm limp and the cleaver by his side. I get down low and army crawl to Lauren, kiss her forehead, and I tell her to stay put, that I'll keep her and I safe. I keep crawling to the window by my back door to close my garage, look out near the motion light. It's off, and the masked perp is gone. I slowly stand up and scale the walls to my bedroom. I look out the south side window that's adjacent to my bed. Keep in mind, it's pitch black in my room at the moment. I see the man slowly walking down my driveway with his back to the house, swinging his arms back and forth, caveman or Bigfoot style. He then stops dead in his tracks, turns his head, tilts it, and looks straight into my bedroom window, at me. He just stands there, and I'm frozen. How could he know which window I was at? I had no fucking clue. The fight must have kicked in full blast, because I wasn't playing around anymore. I grabbed my Beretta A300 semi out of my safe, and my Surefire flashlight. I also grabbed my Sig Sauer P226. I beelined it to Lauren, handed her the Sig, and told her I was heading outside. Quickly laced up my combats and unlocked the front door, quietly opened it and quietly shut it, and quietly locked it behind me. I laid down individual surveillance of my land for this masked perp fucker. He wasn't anywhere in sight, and I checked everywhere, believe me. I walked back into my house and Lauren is still on the couch, Sig in hand. She whisper asked me if anything happened. I said no and that he appeared to be gone. I checked every nook and cranny in my house for safety while white-knuckling my Beretta. Nothing. Nothing was found and nothing was missing. I never saw the masked perp again. Now, I want y'all's theories on what the hell that was about. Keep in mind, I'm very meticulous when it comes to keeping all doors and windows locked when not in use, even when I'm at home. The closest neighbor, a sweet old lady and old man who I'm friendly with, are 0.7 miles away. So how did he get into my house? Lauren and I both fell asleep at one point. Why didn't he take action? Why did he leave? And why was he just creeping outside? Was he roaming my house, and did he watch us while we were sleeping? Where was he hiding when I first checked the basement, and what was the crashing noise? Lastly, I wonder why he chose me. I still don't understand what the fuck happened and what his intentions were. He could have killed us so easily. I'm sorry this isn't as creepy as most of the posts on this sub, but it scared me to the core. I'm curious to hear all your guys' opinions and thoughts on his intentions. I live in a farming area where there's a lot of fields and woodland, so it's not a hard place to find somewhere to walk my dog off their leads. About 2 years ago, one evening, I had completely forgot to walk them. It was about 8:30, and it was in the October half-term, so it was already dark. I wasn't too bothered because I know the whole area really well, so I took my large female boxer dog, who was only a puppy at the time, but had insane muscle and was already full-grown in height, and my Chihuahua and Jack Russell out. I'm a 5'5" girl with quite a bit of muscle on me, as I did a lot of physical sports including martial arts, so I could easily protect myself in a fight. Because of this, I thought I didn't need a torch, and I thought I was safe. I began walking out my estate and up a hill with my earphones, playing some heavy metal music to get me in the zone for a quick walk on the back fields and then back home. When I reached the top of the hill, which led to another housing estate bordering the fields, I noticed there was no traffic at all. No movement. At this point, it was almost 9 and there was nobody to be seen, which I thought was unusual because it's a well-populated area. Besides this, I carried on walking, with little crossbreed biting at the lead with excitement, and my boxer trying to attack my shadow. Once we reached the fields, it was almost pitch black. There were no lampposts. The only light was from the houses that faced the field. I took my boxer off her lead, and as boxers do, she bounded off into the tall grass like a child, whereas my little mutt followed my heels, nipping my jeans to remind me he was still there. After 5 or so minutes, my eyes had adjusted to the lighting of the field, and I could see my boxer had stopped a meter ahead of me, staring at something. Instantly, my Jack Russell starts growling and stands in between my legs. I look up to see a figure standing about 3 meters away from me. I shout for my boxer to come back to me, as usually she gets friendly with strangers and tries to jump on them. Reluctantly, though, she turns to me and begins running to me, my eyes never leaving the figure. I call out and apologize for my dogs. I think I said something along the lines of, "Sorry, she's only a pup. She thinks everybody wants to play." Nothing. Just silence from the figure. I could see that they had long hair, and what looked like a long raincoat on. The shoulders were wide. However, I still think it was a woman. Once again, I called out to her. "Are you okay? Did she jump on you?" Again, nothing. At this point, I could feel her eyes on me and my dogs. My littlest dog began barking and squealing, and my boxer began barking this horrifying bark I've never heard her produce. It sounded like she was trying to threaten the figure. Then I heard the woman begin laughing malevolently. That's when I lost it. I picked up my little dog and ran, knowing full well my boxer would follow me. Like I said, early I did a lot of sports, so I'm fast and don't have too bad stamina. I jumped over the gate with my dog in my arms, and my boxer right behind me. I glance over my shoulder and see the woman clear as day in full pursuit. I couldn't give you exact details. All I can tell you is that she looked like something straight out of a horror movie. She was grotesque in every sense of the word. At this point, my boxer was running just a little ahead of me. She knew I was running home and that this woman was bad news. She could have bolted, but for whatever reason, she kept a speed that matched mine. Maybe it's the dog's loyal instinct of the pack or something, I don't know. Anyways, by the time I had reached the end of the first estate, I slowed to look behind me. Big mistake. She was still running, quite a distance behind me, but she was still coming. At this point, my head was complete mush, but I knew if I went down the route I came to the field from, she would catch up to me. so I darted to the left at the end of the estate and ran across the road down the street. My boxer, right beside me, and at this point my mutt, have gone silent, and he was digging his arms into my chest. I ran like I've never ran before. At the end of the street, I turned right, which brought me onto a street next to the opening of my estate. I didn't look behind me until I reached my driveway. I put my mutt down, and he ran with my boxer to the front door of my house. I looked behind me, but she wasn't there. I could hear her laughing still, though, so I ran to the door, opened it, slammed it behind me, and then bolted it. I turned the porch light off and peered out the little window. Through the door, I could see she walked straight past the end of my driveway. She hadn't seen me. I told my older sister what happened, and she told me it was best we didn't tell our dad, as he would probably not let me walk alone again. Ever since that night, I rarely forget to walk my dogs before it gets dark out, and when I do, I walk them first thing in the morning after. This happened a couple of years ago, and I feel like it's time to get it off my chest. I was around 18, and for a period of time I was very physically active. I had struggled with some bad habits brought by excessive partying, and exercise proved very helpful in this regard. Mind you, at the time I lived in a small town in the ever so peaceful Scandinavia. Out all by myself, jogging in the woods. Not a soul in sight, right? So my class didn't start until around noon, so I went out for a morning jog. Broad daylight and everything. I went on my bike to the tracks, left my bike at the jogging station. Didn't know what else to call it. It was a small red cottage where different outdoor clubs hang out. As I'm about to enter the tracks, there are two middle-aged men sitting by the cottage. I glance at them, only to find myself locking eyes with one of them. The way he looked at me was deeply unsettling. It was only for a moment, but I'll never forget how it felt when his eyes pierced right through me. My gut is making an honest effort trying to tell me that something is off about this whole situation. These men are wearing jeans and leather jackets. They sure aren't here for the sake of exercise. But I brush it off, thinking I'm overreacting. I was wrong. I had only been jogging for a couple of minutes when I suddenly feel like turning around. And there they are, in a white minivan, following me on the track. I feel that man's devilish eyes on me again. I'm doing my best trying to think of a logical, not threatening reason for them to follow me. I can't really think of one that makes sense, so I'm trying to work out what on earth I'm going to do. I don't want to make it obvious that I'm downright terrified. If I start running as fast as I can, I know I'm turning myself into prey. No one else is here. No one. And it won't matter how loud I scream. Fortunately, I've been on these tracks a number of times, so I know there's going to be a sharp curve not so far away. I try to act as if I'm not the least bit bothered by the situation. As soon as I'm past the curve and out of their vision for a short while, I sprint into the woods as if my life depends on it, and hide behind a small rock. I'm crouching down as I see the white vehicle pass the sharp curve. Soon they're out of my sight, but I dare not move. I know that when they pass the curve and notice I'm nowhere to be seen, they'll know I've run off somewhere. After the curve, the trail is a straight line for quite some time, so they'll know I'm not on the tracks anymore. So I stay put, thinking that if they are after me, they'll come back. If I'm overreacting, they'll carry on doing whatever they were doing, and I won't be seeing them again. But the white van did come back. At this point, my memory is a bit vague. I won't even breathe, dreading that the slightest movement will give me away. I can't remember if the van stopped and the dominant man went outside, or if they simply passed the curve again very slowly looking at me. But I do vividly remember when the little van went back where it came from. I was somewhat relieved, though still a bit worried. Thing is, all the tracks led back to the cottage, where these men were likely to be. I decide to carry on deeper into the woods, glancing over my shoulder every now and then to make sure no one is there. My sense of direction is somewhat okay when I'm in forests for some reason. I'm pretty useless otherwise. Anyway, I know that there will be a highway if I just keep on going. I reach the highway and make my way home from there. It usually takes half an hour walking from where I live to the tracks, but this journey home took 3 to 4. Totally worth it, but I can't remember if I ever went back to pick up my bike. I don't know what intentions these men had, but I doubt they were any good. And I don't know what was in that van. What is up, guys? Blue Spooky here, as always. I just wanted to thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it this far to the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave feedback in the comments below, or perhaps like, share, or subscribe if you feel so inclined. If you have a personal story that you'd like to send in, or if you'd just like to message me sometime, go ahead and take a look in the description below. There will be links to all of my social media accounts, including my Facebook, Gmail, and Twitter account. Go ahead and check any of those out and send me a message, and I'll try to include your story in a video, or get back to you as soon as possible. If you do decide to send in a story, please be sure to include in the tagline the name of the story and any possible themes it might have, as well as how you'd like to be credited in the description of the video the story appears in. If you're curious at all about the music used in today's video, you can go ahead and check down there in the description. The music is always listed in the description below, in the order which it appears. I also name the tracks, and provide links to the artists if you feel like checking out more of their work. Last but not least, if you guys have any constructive criticism, please feel free to leave it in the comments below, as I'm always looking for new ways to improve the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.